It's time to chill out and get ready for a mediocre Q&A live stream. If you're old enough, grab yourself your favorite adult beverage, and if you're not, stick with apple juice. Put your feet up and relax. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. And now let's cue up the intro music.
This video is brought to you by
Hello. How are you guys doing this evening? I am doing crappy. I canceled my last live stream last week because I'm fighting a pinched nerve. Hey, it's gotten better. I've been to a bunch of doctors. I'm on a bunch of medicine, chiropractor, all that good stuff. But it's on the healing end. You know, it's going to take time to work this out. So we're still waiting on some evaluations of my x-rays and different things like that. But I'm going to be all right, you know, so... I just been working on like this whole weekend. I didn't do anything, just rubbing, you know, putting frozen peas on my back and, yeah, exactly. You guys caught that little thing I did there. So anyways, I've been putting frozen peas on my back and stuff, and it's been helping out a lot, and, just trying to relax and get some rest and stuff. So yeah, a few things I want to talk about as usual. Definitely haven't gone through the comments as much as I would have liked to because I kind of haven't been staring at YouTube very much. So yeah, I got some stuff to cover here, but if I missed a few comments, I apologize. Feel free to send me an email or something like that if there was something in the comments for the last 4 videos that I didn't address. I'll try to get to it or something like that. My email address is hvacrvideos@gmail.com. So, I've already answered that, how my back's doing. So, a bunch of people, I lost my train of thought already. Oh yeah, someone had asked me what the weather's like here in California. It's nothing like the rest of you guys. The Midwest, the South, the Mideast, all that, or the East Coast and stuff. I know you guys are all dealing with crazy winter, snow, and everything like that right now. Here it's pretty mild. I'd say 60s or something like that. We're not really hitting the 70s right now, but we're in the 60s. So just a super mild winter as usual here in Southern California, which isn't helping us because we're super slow when it comes to restaurant refrigeration work and stuff. But, you know, we will make it through. So I wanted to bring this up really quick, and I'll bring it up later on in the stream too as people come in and come out. I started a video project a while back, or I started another YouTube channel called HVACR Tools. I never really took off with that channel. I know I have a bunch of subs on it, but I've only posted one video on that YouTube channel. And I just kind of got tired, you know, and kind of got burnt out, just having a hard time keeping up with my normal schedule for HVACR videos, let alone a whole nother YouTube channel. So I'm actually bringing my friends on board. So the Overtime crew is going to jump on board on that YouTube channel with me, and we're going to start posting videos together, which is greatly going to help me to not be so stressed out about the video schedule and everything like that. So if you guys haven't already, definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've got some really cool stuff coming up. I'm going to post it in the chat right now. It's called HVACR Tools. Okay. Currently right now there's only one video, but stay tuned. We've got a lot of cool stuff. We're also looking for some feedback on stuff that you guys might think would be interesting. Hang on just a second. Let me put that right there. Yeah. So, some of the first tools, I will go ahead and discuss it. It's not a big surprise, but some of the first tools that we're going to be doing videos on, I actually just ordered 3 of the new Testo 550 manifolds, the new ones with the new screen and all that stuff. We went all out on it. So we ordered 3 of those. We ordered the new wireless vacuum sensors. We ordered 1 of the new Testo 550i, which is the manifold without the screen. So one of us is getting that too. So that'll be something we're going to be talking about. Some other videos we're going to be doing too. Refrigeration Technologies has some new tools that just came out. Actually, they have a new foam gun that's more catered to their coil cleaners, to the venom packs. So it has better dilution ratios and you're able to control that a lot better. So we'll be doing videos on that. Refrigeration Technologies actually has a new hand pump sprayer that we'll be doing a video on. I believe we should be able to do a video on a blower door here pretty quick, because I believe Adam just ordered a new blower door. I plan on ordering the new Vito Tech Pack, the rolling backpack, to see if it's a gimmick or if it's something cool. Obviously, with my back problems right now, that might be something smart to consider. And then we should have something coming out on some thermal imaging cameras too. So you should see some silly stuff too in those video reviews, because, you know, I get emails all the time for the silliest stuff, like from Amazon, these crazy silly tools that I would never, and I thought it would be kind of a fun gimmick if we go ahead and accept those tools and start talking about how crappy they are. So plan on that one coming too. So if you haven't already, go check out that YouTube channel. It's called HVACR Tools. I just put it in there. I'll talk about this towards the middle of the video, maybe the end or something like that too. So stay tuned on that. We're going to be working on that, and that'll be a fun project for all of us together. So as usual, I want to talk about the recent videos. So, but let me address this too for the new people coming in. Yeah, I did skip the last live stream because of my back. I kind of already covered that. I'm still kind of messed up right now. It's in my neck, and it's weird. It's a pinched nerve in my neck, but it's gone into my shoulder, down into my elbow, and into my hands. My fingers are currently numb right now. So it's definitely something we're trying to work out. I've gone to the normal doctor. I've been seeing a chiropractor too, and we're kind of working everything out. So we'll be okay. All right. So definitely want to get to your guys' questions, things you want me to talk about in the chat too. So as usual, do me a favor, put your comments or questions that you want me to address in caps lock. Okay. Don't get your feelings hurt if I don't get to your comment, okay? Oftentimes there's a lot of stuff going on. We might miss one, or I just don't have time to get to it. Feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com if I don't get to that, okay? So let's get on with this. Last bit of business too before we get any further into this is Sporland has a webinar on oil management coming up on February 18th, 1 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be their normal type of online webinar. So I'm going to post the link to that. And then the moderator bot will be posting the link to that in the chat here as we go along too. So definitely register for that webinar, guys. I know I've said this before, but I really do dig the Sporland webinars, because the 2 guys that usually conduct the webinars, they have a cool just thing going between the 2 of them. They kind of interact really well, and it makes it so that way they're not extremely boring. Because and what I find interesting about the webinars too is, even though they're more geared towards supermarket, you can take from it, even if you're a residential service tech or just a light commercial refrigeration tech like myself, you can take things from it. So definitely get good information from their webinars. So all right. What is my company called? It's not the biggest secret in the world, but I try to keep my normal refrigeration company out of the spotlight on YouTube, so I really don't talk about that too much. I mean, I know it has slipped here and there, but yeah, I don't really reveal the name of my company. So, all right, let's see what else. Slow down my work, as in probably try to take care of myself. I'm assuming you're saying, yeah, I should definitely take care of myself a little bit better. So, all right, let's see what else we got in here. What's my company name? Would like to call for service. Oh, yeah, I don't reveal my company name. You can feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com and we can talk further. So let me see. Let me see here. Where is my play button? Play button? I have no idea, dude. I don't know if you have to apply for those things. No idea. To be honest with you, that stainless steel sign that was made for me by Rich in the chat, and Ike had the idea and stuff and kind of helped with the design. That's a much better thing than the play button from YouTube. So I'm not even concerned about the YouTube play button. This means more to me than that play button ever did. So I don't know if those play buttons just show up or if I have to apply for it. I have no idea. Not really too concerned about it. So, all right. Let me see what else. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get to my list of things to talk about here. Automatic expansion valve. Can I explain how they work? Well, I'm not super knowledgeable in how they work off the top of my head right now. So that's not something I really, really want to dive into because I'll probably step on my tongue a little bit. I have a general idea, but that's not something I feel comfortable going to town on. So have I worked on any of the new Carrier units with the new blower with no belts? Joshua. No, Carrier calls their units the Eco Blue, I believe they call them. And it's basically a giant axial fan motor. No, I have not worked on any of those. They're interesting looking to me. I'm a little bit concerned about those when it comes to the greasy kitchens that I work in. I could just see those things becoming a disaster and trying to clean them without getting them wet. So I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to do good on kitchen air conditioning systems, but time will tell. Sorry, I had to flip my fan on. It's getting a little warm in my office right now. So, I had a question come through. Well, actually, let's talk about the videos. So I've had 4 videos since the last live stream. So the ice machine is down, okay? And that was a video where the unit had a noisy air pump. Was it a noisy air pump? Yeah, it had a noisy air pump, and the ice, it was kind of having a hard time with the ice falling off the evaporator. And what I actually found in that video was the curtain switches were flip-flopped, and that was causing an issue. But I believe that the curtain switches had been flip-flopped for a very long time. But what happened was the restaurant just recently had the ice machine cleaned, and the ice thickness probe wasn't set correctly. I feel like this is just, my guess, because obviously I don't know for sure, but I have a feeling that the ice machine had been operating that way for a very long time, but the ice was being made so thick that it didn't really make a difference that the curtain switches were flip-flopped, okay? But once the thickness started getting smaller on the ice thickness, basically, I believe that's when the problem really reared its ugly head. When that, we have these restaurants that hire these cleaning companies, filter changing companies, whatever you want to call them, and they'll come in and they're just like national chain cleaning companies, and they just go across the country doing all kinds of different stuff. I tend to find, because they're not specialists per se in ice machine repairs, that things tend to get overlooked. It's a benefit for me because the service calls that are generated from those guys are great and they keep me super busy. I really would think that it sucks for the customer because I could only imagine that the service calls generated across the country are the same that they are here in my area. But hey, I'm just happy to get these service calls and be able to charge the customer to fix these issues. So I really don't push the matter too much on that one. Let me see. I had some comments about a walk-in cooler video that I did. It was called Big Picture Walk-in Cooler Service Call. Okay. And it wasn't really negative. It was kind of a funny comment, but I do get these comments a lot, so I kind of wanted to address it. And the person had commented, and like I said, it wasn't negative. There was nothing bad he was saying, but he kind of jokingly guessed about a third of the way through the video when I diagnosed it as having 2 bad condenser fan motors. He said, haha, I'm surprised you didn't change all the equipment, And then he commented the next day, "Oh, wow, I finished the video. I guess you did change all the equipment." That didn't surprise me, just kind of jokingly. And again, he didn't mean anything by it. And I didn't take any offense to it or anything. But, I do want to say, though, that I am not the ones telling the customers to change this equipment. So I work for big restaurants, and all that I do is just give them repair quotes and give them information. So in the situation of that video, I went to the customer and I said, actually, I didn't even give him a quote. I just changed the condenser fan motors, and then we returned to clean the evaporator, and the evaporator was rotting away. So we got the system operational. We were done. It was working. And then we just told the customer, hey, the evaporator's totally rotted out. You may want to address that in the future. And then the customer just, they're very, very proactive about replacing equipment at that particular customer. So they change equipment left and right. And that's why I always say in my videos, like, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if the customer changes this, when it comes to exhaust fans, air conditioners, refrigeration equipment, they're on top of it. So I'm assuming that it financially makes sense to them. I have no control over that. For the most part, I don't get to sell the customer the equipment. They buy the equipment themselves. So I'm just the guy that goes and installs it for them. So, I just kind of am thankful that I get to do that work again. So, another video that I had was called "One Service Call Turns into Another." That was an interesting one because it started out as a service call on a reach-in cooler, and I couldn't really find anything wrong with the cooler other than the things that I'd already told the customer that was wrong with it. Basically, they needed to replace it. But I didn't just stop there. I noticed it was a little bit warm in the kitchen, and that could definitely affect the way that their poor equipment was operating. So I went onto the roof and I found that the kitchen AC wasn't working. And then after going through the kitchen AC, I found that they had an exhaust fan not working. So it's that whole big picture mindset. I'm there to fix a reach-in cooler, but even though I knew that the reach-in cooler was trash and there wasn't much I can do, I still evaluate it like it's the first time. And looking at everything saying, hey, you know what? It's a little bit warm in this kitchen. So I know this cooler works, but it probably doesn't work as good, as it could when it gets warm later in the day, therefore addressed the kitchen AC problem, which while working on that led to the exhaust fan problem. So that was a good 2 days worth of work, all for a reach-in cooler that I could have simply just walked up and said, I told you guys to replace it, or I gave you a quote to fix it, and I could have walked away. And they probably would have called me later, but I was there, So it's looking into that, looking at the big picture, being honest, not ripping anybody off. We're not, at least the way that I operate my business, we are not here to create work. We're not here to be dishonest or anything. I'm just here to report everything to the customer. Look, this is the shape of the equipment. This is what needs to be done, and let them make the decisions. And I'm, again, thankful that I'm there to be able to do the work for them. So, the last one that I did was the bar reach-ins are too warm. And that was an easy one. But again, with the whole big picture mindset, service call on a set of bar coolers not working, was low on refrigerant, super easy. When I opened up the condensed unit, there was oil all over the liquid line, and I found a loose flare nut. Okay. Tightened up the flare nut, topped off the charge, done. But I didn't just stop there. Even though I found the leak on the roof, I still returned and did a leak check on the evaporators. Now, I didn't find anything on the evaporators, but I'm doing my due diligence to be thorough to make sure that we don't get a callback. For me, guys, callbacks are worse than anything. Callbacks are when the customer loses faith in you. When a customer loses faith in you, it's hard to earn that back. Okay. I try to tell this to my guys, when, and everybody gets callbacks, but it's trying to limit them as much as possible. Okay. And it may seem like not a big deal, hey, you know what? You go out and you forget to turn a switch on. Okay. No big deal. I got to go back and turn it on, okay. You don't charge the customer, but the damage is already done. Okay. That when they lose faith in you, the damage is already done. It doesn't matter if you're charging them or not. They lose faith in you. So now the next time that you go out to do that service call, they're going to look at you and be like, this guy left my equipment off last time. Can I trust that he's going to do this right? Okay. So being thorough is so important, okay, to try to prevent the callbacks. At least that's what I preach all the time to my guys. So, all right. Let me see. Ollie, am I familiar with AC Plus and Victorville? Yes, I am very familiar. Well, not very familiar, but yes, I am familiar with AC Plus. I know of the owner of AC Plus. I personally don't know him, but I know of the owners. I've known of them for a while now. So, all right. How would I set the superheat for my TXV when there is an EPR valve in the circuit? You've been told you need to open up the EPR valve to get the correct superheat. Gary Carnell. Well, Gary, EPR valves would not be my specialty. So I'm not really going to go into that one. I apologize, bud, but I'm not super familiar with EPR valves. So, yeah. All right. Let me see what else we got in here. What am I missing? In what scenario would I use compression ratio calculation in the field? Pat, you know, if you know what the proper compression ratio should be, okay, you can use compression ratio to diagnose bad or weak or inefficient compressors. That's a great way to use compression ratio. So Copeland may say that, hey, a properly operating compression ratio at these temperatures should be between here and here. And if your compression ratio doesn't meet within a set number of variables, then that could help you to diagnose an inefficient compressor. So that's one good place where you can use compression ratio. All right. Copeland has a great app that uses compression ratio, kind of a backwards compression ratio. It's called Copeland Mobile, and you can actually analyze Copeland compressor operations. They'll ask you for a set number of variables. They ask you for suction pressure, liquid pressure, voltage coming in, something like that. And they can determine compression ratio and tell you if the compressor is within an operating envelope. So check out the Copeland mobile app for sure. All right, let's see what else we got in here. What do I think about the Weibo connections? I'm assuming maybe you mean the Wago connectors, possibly. Wago connectors, the electrical connectors. You know, they're kind of popping up in my area, but they're not super popular right now, if that's what you're talking about. I see them in a lot of the R290 coolers because you're not really supposed to use wire nuts on R290 coolers. So Wagos have quickly become very popular. They're not super cheap for me yet, and they're not available at my local supply houses. Certainly I could go searching electrical warehouses and things like that, but I just like to go to my main suppliers to pick up my materials. So, but I will say I like the Wago connectors that have the releasable arms. They seem convenient to work with. As far as longevity, I don't have experience with how long they last, so I don't know. That's something. Wire nuts have done me really well, and I've had no issues with wire nuts. So, all right, let's see what else. What's the oldest package unit that I've worked on that was still in service? Probably late 70s. A late 70s package unit would be the oldest that was still in service. I've worked on some carrier split systems from the 60s before. I actually removed one of them and replaced it. That thing was a beast to try to replace. That was a chore, man. Because it was, of all things, the weirdest thing, that carrier split system was located in the attic. And on the old commercial carrier split systems, I think it was a 10-ton. So it used to have a Carlisle compressor in the evaporator and air handler assembly. And then it just had a standard condenser on the roof. So getting that evaporator air handler assembly out was a nightmare. Hey, Pat, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. That is amazing, and I really, really appreciate it. Let me see what else we got in here. Yeah. All right. I asked about sizing walk-in coolers and freezers. What's my take on it? Chris Young. Okay. So yes, I did ask on all my social media platforms about sizing walk-in coolers and freezers. The reason why I asked about that was I kind of just wanted to get your guys' input and figure out how you guys do it. Now, I have done my own load calculations myself for many years. I lost trust in my supply houses. Just because there was too much guessing going on, and I like to know for sure why we size equipment the way that we do. There's a lot of things that led to me not being very confident in just trusting what a supply house says. So I quickly learned how to do load calculations myself. The reason why I brought the whole topic up was because I'm actually working on a video project. It's still in the works. I don't want to go too much into details, but it's going to be a video project that has to do with load calculations and different things like that. So stay tuned. It'll be coming out on the channel. I plan on trying to make the process a little bit easier and explaining a few things. So, but you'll see once we work on it. I actually have a conference call tomorrow morning, super early in the morning, with some important people that are going to help. I've been bringing in a lot of contacts and different ones and getting information. This is kind of becoming a video where I've been doing a lot of research on and stuff. So that was the whole point. But yeah, I do my own load calculations. I prefer to do it that way. It's interesting too, once you start doing your own load calculations and then you compare to the equipment you're pulling out compared to what the actual load is calling for as far as the equipment size. And you're going to find that there's a lot of oversized equipment out there, like massively oversized. And it's really interesting to know that you can go in with something half the size and sometimes it'll work flawlessly. So very interesting. All right, let me get down into here. Okay. What is my favorite Fieldpiece tool? Man, there's so many. I really dig a lot of the Fieldpiece products. The VP85 vacuum pump is awesome. The MR45 recovery machine is super cool. I like some of the features that the MR45 has as far as high and low voltage. I had an incident where I had low voltage. I had a bad receptacle and I didn't know it, and I plugged in the pump, and the pump itself, the recovery machine, said, hey, low voltage, and it shut itself off, which I thought was really interesting before it damaged the machine. I do like on one of my other favorite tools that Fieldpiece has is the meter that I use, the SC480, because it has the phase rotation testing on it, and I really dig that. So lots of great tools from Fieldpiece. All right, so let's see what else. Let me see. What am I missing here? Oh, I see someone saying I need to request my play button. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll look into it again. I'm sure I'll do it one of these days, but it's just not a massive thing. I already kind of covered it a little bit, but I'll say it again. I'm doing better with my back. It's still pretty sore right now. It's actually in my neck and in my arm. So this live stream probably won't be as long as it normally is because it's already painful, but we'll get through the questions. So. Let me see what else we got in here. Any comment on the new ProTalk multiverse after ProTalk Fallout? That was interesting. So the Facebook group HVAC ProTalk was completely deleted via Facebook because of, I don't know, a bunch of drama or something. I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Now there's like 4 or 5 different HVAC ProTalk groups. It's interesting. No comment on it really. So. All right, let's see what else. What HVAC unit have I worked on that I don't know anything about? The Train and Telepacks kind of intimidated me when I've worked on those, because I'm not a certified Train tech. But Train has always been kind of confusing to me with because they're kind of secretive with some of their information. It's out there, but it's kind of hard to find it on how to work on their equipment and stuff. So Trains have always been a little confusing and frustrating to me. Not the refrigeration circuit, but the controls. Train has always been very, very interesting with their controls. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Am I missing? Is the leaking factory solder common on RDI and Russell evaporators in my recent videos? Is it common? No, not really. The Russell or the RDI evaporator, I will say that I don't think that... it's kind of confusing. When you start working on some of this equipment, you start to notice trends like... my customer buys RDI equipment, and when the evaporators come, they're almost identical to Russell evaporators or HTPG evaporators, right? Russell, Cold Zone, a couple different companies, they're all merged together. So the question is, who's making the evaporators? Is Russell making them? Is someone else making them? In the video where I had a refrigerant leak, I honestly don't think that Russell was the one responsible for putting that coil together. I believe either RDI did or some other company, because it wasn't the standard components that Russell uses and stuff. So who knows, but it's not common. That was just a frustrating one. How often do I have tech training with my team? Well, of course I always encourage we don't necessarily have formal tech training. Okay. I encourage my guys to watch my videos. That's the whole point of me making these videos. And then we will oftentimes have a meeting in the morning. We all meet at the office in the morning and we'll discuss like weird technical things that we had going on. And then, we'll go out and work on things together, or we'll do startups together and things like that. So we're all kind of working closely together. But we don't do formal, training once a week or anything like that. No, I'd love to, but it's not always cost effective to be able to do that. So, all right. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get onto my list of things to talk about. So, I had a question, and it's a pretty good question. So someone who's going to be doing their first walk-in freezer equipment replacement had asked me, hey, what are some important things to know before doing their first installation of walk-in freezer equipment? Okay. The first thing I'm going to say is if you're doing an installation of walk-in freezer equipment, you need to understand the general sequence of operation as to what's going on. Obviously, you want to read the installation manuals whenever possible. Is it a new conventional system, or is it, is it an old conventional walk-in freezer system, or is it a new smart evaporator system? All of those change, every smart evaporator is not the same. Are you working on a Heatcraft intelligent evaporator? Well, those have EEVs, or electronic expansion valves, okay? And they don't use liquid line solenoid valves, all right? They also need a dedicated power source going to those evaporators. You can't share the power source with the outdoor unit. If you're replacing a conventional systems, walk-in freezer systems, typically the outdoor unit main power went to that, and then it sent power to the indoor coil, and it was powered by the outdoor unit. But if you're working on a new Heatcraft Intelligent or Beacon or I can't think of what the new, they have a whole bunch of different names for their new systems. If you're working on any of the new Heatcraft stuff, you can't use the power source from the outdoor condensing unit to power your evaporator anymore. There's all kinds of new stuff. So reading the installation instructions is key when it comes to doing installs on this equipment. Okay. You learn so much when you do that. And I know it's frustrating and boring, but even I learned stuff. I'll tell you a funny story. I did an installation of a Manitowoc ice machine. I've done so many Manitowoc ice machines installations. I came up working on the Manitowoc Q series machines, and then working on the S series machines, did a ton of them. And then we got this new Indigo series machine, and I went to go install my first Indigo Quiet Cube ice machine. So if you aren't familiar with the Manitowoc Quiet Cube ice machines, the compressor's on the roof with the condenser and the accumulator, and then downstairs at the head unit, or the ice head, is 2 evaporators, a receiver, some expansion valves, and you have a liquid and suction line traveling between the two. Okay, or a liquid drain, I guess you should call it. A liquid drain coming down, and then, yeah, that's what it is. You have a liquid drain coming down. But so I did my first installation, and we went to start up the machine, and the machine wouldn't work. And it was funny too, though, because when I did my first installation, if any of you have ever installed a Indigo machine or any of the new machines, or actually the Indigo machine, it came with a roll of thermostat wire. Well, the first time I did this installation, I opened up the line set box that the customer sent me, and I'm like, hey, they sent me a residential line set because there's thermostat wire in here. And I just threw the thermostat wire away, hooked up the machine, started it up just like normal, and nothing happened. Well, it needed that thermostat wire for communication from the upstairs to the downstairs unit. And because I hadn't read the installation instructions, I didn't know that. So myself and another guy are going crazy trying to figure out why this machine's not working, why when we open the valves it doesn't turn on like the old S model machines did. And then my buddy said, hey, dude, did you read the instructions? And I said, no. And he goes, I wonder if that thermostat wire that you threw out had something to do with it. And so we go get the installation instructions, and sure enough, you had to install the thermostat wire. So I was super comfortable, and I didn't think I needed to read the instructions. They had made a change, and I just ignored the fact that it came with the thermostat wire came with it, and I was wrong. So it's really easy to get caught up in that stuff. So when it comes to installing walk-in freezer equipment, read the installation manual, understand the sequence of operation, and that is going to take you the whole distance, okay? Understand how to properly pipe refrigeration lines. Did you know? And if you didn't, it's okay, but did you know that when you're installing a condensing unit, I don't care if it's residential, commercial, whatever, did you know that on a residential air conditioning system, if your condensing unit, your outdoor unit, has a 7/8 and a 3/8 line, line sizes on the outside of the condensing unit, did you know that that doesn't mean that's what size refrigeration lines that requires? Just because it has 7/8, 3/8 at the outdoor unit doesn't mean that you're supposed to run 7/8, 3/8 all the way to the indoor unit, and vice versa. In refrigeration, walk-in cooler equipment, has a 3/4 and a 5/8, lines on it, does not mean that it requires 3/4 and 5/8. It might be bigger, it might be smaller. It all depends on the oil return and the velocity that you need that refrigerant to go to move through those lines. So reading the installation instructions are going to tell you that. Did you know that if you have a walk-in cooler evaporator and you need to, and it's brand new and you're doing an installation on it, and you need to install a liquid line solenoid valve, you don't necessarily install a 3/8 liquid line solenoid valve just because you have a 3/8 line coming from the outdoor unit. It doesn't work that way. You size the solenoid valves by looking at the manufacturer's installation instructions. And it's not completely unheard of to have a solenoid valve that has bigger line size connections than the actual liquid line coming into it. You might have to use reducing fittings or whatever to make it work. So reading the installation instructions goes so far, guys. All right, let's look at the chat and see what I'm missing in here. And there goes the Coke nose. Let me see. You started with the B series there, Dirk. Yeah, I came in at the Q series. So, yeah, that was the early 2000s was when I really started getting into the trade. How does a tech become better at understanding low voltage wiring on residential systems? Well, that low voltage can be tricky, especially on residential, that if you have thermostats, if you don't have a good ground source, it can make it a little bit harder to learn how to troubleshoot that stuff. I would highly suggest my buddy Brian Orr has some great articles on thermostats and floating commons and why transformers need to be grounded in some situations. And so definitely go check out my buddy Brian's website, hvacrschool.com. He's got some great information. And while we're talking about Brian, I'm going to go ahead and confirm this. I've already said it a few times before, but Brian has a training, he's calling it his training symposium, coming up here in less than a month. And it's going to be physically at his offices in Florida. Claremont, Florida is where it's going to be at. But guess what? If you can't make it to Brian's training sessions, let's see, the training classes are going to be March 11th, 12th, and 13th. You can purchase online tickets to be able to view the training classes online. I am actually going to be doing a talk. It's not really a training class that I'm going to be doing. It's going to be more of a sharing some videos and different ideas. But my video thing is going to be on Thursday, I think, at the end of the day. And as far as I know, mine will be live. I might even live stream mine on my channel. Okay. If you're interested in checking out Brian's training symposium, it would be something really cool. I was physically in person last year at the training symposium, and it was amazing. I can only imagine it's going to be better this year. He's got some real great educators that are going to be teaching there on all different topics. So definitely check that out. And if you want more information to that training symposium, go to his website, hvacrschool.com. There's a big giant banner. Click on that, and it has all the information on how to get tickets and all that stuff, even the online tickets if you don't want to attend in person. So let me see. How do I fix a motor that is powered when you turn off the unit? How do you fix a motor that is powered when you turn off the unit? I have no idea, but I get power to turn off to the motor, I guess. I don't know. How do you fix a motor? I think I might need context to your question there, Joshua. Either send me an email or try to post it again in the chat. If I don't answer it in the chat, then send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com. So, all right. Have I noticed that a lot of R290 compressors are going bad, especially on freezers? Ray Reef Mechanic. Actually, I haven't had that problem. I work on a lot of Delfield equipment, though. And some of the true stuff, but more Delfield. I'd say like 95% of the R290 stuff I'm working on is Delfield. And I haven't had too many compressor failures, if any. Maybe one. And I work on freezers, coolers, all that stuff. No, not too many failures. I've had most of my problems with R290 have been refrigerant leaks because they were not installed properly. The equipment was not put together properly and tested properly, and it's been like braze joints that have failed and stuff like that. It's pressure. I've had a high pressure control failure rate on a lot of the Delfield units, but that's about it. So, yeah, Dallas fan Ralph from Honeywell is in here too. Honeywell is going to be participating in the HVACR training symposium. They're actually a big sponsor of the training symposium. And while I got it right there, my buddy Ralph here is from Honeywell. And Ralph is the man. If you guys have been watching these live streams, you guys probably already know this, but Ralph is the man when it comes to refrigerant related questions, when it comes to blends, retrofits, and all that stuff. If you guys haven't already noticed, we've got a lot of new requirements and different things rolling across the country right now. Now, here in California, we've actually already had these mandates and requirements, but they're rolling across the country with new requirements about changing your equipment over, not using certain high GWP refrigerants anymore and different stuff like that. And eventually the entire country is going to be there. I mean, guys, as frustrating as it is, to be honest with you, the rest of the world, at least the civilized world for the most part, has already way farther advanced with eco-friendly refrigerants and different things like that. We in the United States are actually way behind par when it comes to the European countries, and it's kind of insane. R22 is actually illegal to use in a lot of the European countries, and topping off the refrigerant charge on equipment that has refrigerant leaks is actually illegal in a lot of the European countries, like straight up illegal. You have to turn it off until it's fixed. Like there's no topping off the charge. Like here in the United States, we're allowed to do that, right? We're allowed to, as far as I know, and the rules are all changing, almost seems like daily these days, but as far as our refrigerant charge is under 50 pounds, we can just continue to top off the charge, top it off, top it off, top it off, top it off. Now, once the charge, my understanding is, goes over 50 pounds, then you can still top it off, but you have to come up with an action plan on how to fix these leaks and stuff like that. So here in the United States, we're still allowed to use R22. It can't be produced and can't be imported, but we have stockpiles of recovered R22 at our local supply houses, and they clean it up and get it all back up to AHRI standards and resell it, and we're allowed to continue to use that until the foreseeable future. So, but we have a lot of new stuff coming out, things like R404A, not being able to use that anymore. You're having to change over to alternative refrigerants, and that's where my buddy Ralph comes into hand there, because Ralph has lots of great information on how to convert your equipment over, what steps need to be taken in doing conversions. Do you need to change the expansion valves? Do you need to change the orifices? Or was your expansion valve and your orifice marginally or sized appropriately to where you don't? So reach out to my buddy Ralph. I put his email in the chat right now. Ralph is with Honeywell Refrigerants, and he can get you all that information. He's a really cool dude. So, all right, let's see what else we got going on in here. How often do I charge beer cases to beer can cold? I charge them to nice, shiny, clear sight glass really often. All right. That is exactly it. Dallas is Ralph, but Ralph is not liable for anything Dallas says. That's right. So Dallas is Ralph, but Dallas is not here on official capacity from Honeywell Refrigerants. But do me a favor and send him an email if you have any questions. So, all right, let's see what else we got going on in here. How often do I go through a pair of Gorilla Grip gloves? I actually burn through them pretty quick. I use the Gorilla Grip gloves from Home Depot, not Gorilla Glue, and no, I don't put that crap on my hair like some stupid people, okay? Here's your sign kind of a thing. But the Gorilla Grip gloves, they might last me a week or two, depending on how much I'm working. But I really do like them. I usually buy them in bulk in big 25 packs or 50 packs, and then they last a long... I mean, they do okay. I try to use them accordingly, though. So, will I be in Florida? No, Zach, I won't. I won't be in Florida. I will. I kind of already talked about that a second ago, but I will be doing a live cast on Thursday evening, though, at the training session at Brian's event. But I will not be there in person this year. I'm too short-staffed and can't get over there because of this stuff. So, guys, Zach... Quality HVACR, at the tail end of this, I saw that he posted a video. It's been a project that he's been working on for a while, so definitely go check out Zach's YouTube channel. Can one of the moderators post a link to Zach's YouTube channel in here, Quality HVACR? Because I don't want to have to pull that up right now. If you guys could do that, that'd be awesome. But go check out Zach's channel. He had asked me, I haven't had a chance to watch it, but he had asked me for like a little clip because he wanted to do a video project together. And I gave him a little clip, and I think that's what he just released right now because he tagged me in the video. So, but check it out. Zach's got some cool stuff on his channel. He does some really awesome installs. So, all right. Thoughts on ultrasonic leak detectors, Jeremy? Okay, so here's the deal. There was an ultrasonic leak detector company. I don't know if I've ever said this or not, but I can say it. So there was an ultrasonic leak detector company that reached out to me and they said, hey, we'd really like to get you to try our ultrasonic leak detector. And at the time I was really kind of torn about taking free tools for this YouTube channel. I really never wanted this YouTube channel to be a tool review channel, by the way. But I went ahead and had them send me a leak detector, right? An ultrasonic leak detector. And I tried it out for about 2 months. And to be honest with you, it wasn't for me. I didn't find any value in it. I didn't find any use in it. But let me say, I'm not saying they're worthless. I'm not saying they're useless. Just for what I do, I didn't find a good use for it. Now, my buddy Rick over at HVACR Survival, he doesn't love, but he likes his ultrasonic leak detector. Rick likes having multiple methods of leak detection, and the ultrasonic does help him and has found leaks that he couldn't find otherwise. Okay. I personally didn't care for the ultrasonic in my situation, so I don't want to talk badly about them, but they didn't work for me, or it didn't work for me. So what I ended up doing to that tool manufacturer, because they wanted me to make a video about it, and I just told them, I said, I don't want to make a video about your product that you sent me for free, you know, if it's going to be negative, because I had no good use for it. So I just sent the ultrasonic leak detector back to them and just said thanks, but no thanks, kind of a thing. So with that being said, I already said this before, I'll say it again. I have a YouTube channel called HVACR Tools. I haven't posted much about it. We have a lot more people in here, so I want to say this again. We haven't posted much on that YouTube channel. Actually, I've only posted one video. I think I've had it for a couple years now, and I've posted one video. It has a bunch of subscribers. Well, I really wanted to start posting to it, but it's just been a bunch of pressure on me. So I actually brought my friends in, okay, the overtime crew. So myself, Joe, Bill, and Adam are all going to start posting videos on that YouTube channel. We've got some really cool videos coming down the pipeline. I actually just ordered 3 of the new Testo 550 manifolds, and I actually ordered one of the Testo 550i manifolds, and all of us are getting different ones. So Bill's going to get a 550i, and the rest of us are going to get 550s. We're getting the new wireless vacuum gauge, and we're going to test them out and start making videos about them, letting you guys know what we think about it. We've got some other videos coming out too, so definitely go check out that YouTube channel and subscribe to it if you haven't already. I'm going to post a link in here real quick. This is to the tools channel. We've got some other things coming down the pipe too. Some new refrigeration technologies tools that are coming out. I believe we're going to be able to do a blower door testing video because Adam just bought a blower door. Plan on doing the new Vito rolling backpack, some thermal imaging camera videos. So lots of cool stuff coming in. It's not just going to be me. So I think the posting is going to be a lot more often because my buddies are able to post on it too. So check out that YouTube channel. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Am I busy in California? No, I am absolutely dead. I've had a guy off for over a week, over probably 2 weeks now. We've got no work for him. I've got one guy working today. I'm off because of my hurt neck. But yeah, we're dead right now because the restaurants, they're only doing emergency repairs because they're not allowed to have people in their dining rooms right now. So they're just in survival mode. So we are absolutely dead. Let's see. The machine guy, you're saying you're getting into HVAC. Do I have any tips on getting started and what training is needed? Wow, that is a loaded question, bud. What I want you to do is, if you haven't already and you're researching trade schools, get involved in a trade school, whether it be a private or a public one. Be cautious about signing up for long-term programs where you have to pay up front and that kind of stuff, because some of the private trade schools can be really expensive. So just make sure that if you do sign up for a private trade school, that it's something you really want to do, and make sure that if you don't like it, you can get your money back. You know what I'm saying? The cool thing about the public, like community college type programs, is you pay per class. So $500-600 you pay for a class, you find out you don't like it, you're only out $500 or $600, and you're not out, you know, anywhere from 12 to 18 grand for some of these private schools. So be very cautious about that. I'm not saying the private schools are bad. I'm just saying be cautious about signing up if you know, just in case you change your mind or something. Okay. My buddy Brian Orr has an amazing training website called hvacrschool.com. Definitely check that out. Lots of great information. And obviously you see my videos and stuff on my channel. So feel free to send me an email to hvacrvideos@gmail.com and we can certainly talk a little bit more about it. So let's see what else we got on here. Let's see. What am I missing? What is the purpose of the overload clicker on capacitor powered relays? The overload clicker. So I'm assuming that you mean the bimetal disc, the thermal overload on a compressor is what I assume that you mean. And if that's what it is that I think you're talking about, the bimetal disc, I actually have one. Hold on. So what we have right here is a clicks-on thermal overload, okay? It has a bimetal disc that will actually flex when the current gets high enough, and it'll break the contact between these two terminals. So it's simply there to keep a compressor from overloading or overheating. So yeah, these things are great in protecting the compressors, and they're very important. So I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. You always want to replace these with the factory OEM overloads, okay? Be very cautious about using universal start components and things like that, because oftentimes these clicks-on overloads can be incorrectly sized and it may not protect your compressor. So the purpose of this right here is to protect your compressor in an overheat situation or an overload situation, and it turns it off before the compressor gets ruined, okay? What happens if you have low voltage coming into your compressor? If you have low voltage from a bad receptacle or whatever, this might catch it and protect your compressor from burning up, from burning the windings in the compressor because of low voltage, because with the low voltage, it's going to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and potentially this could save your compressor. Okay, so very important, these clicks on thermal overloads. So, all right, let's see what else we got in here. Has NorCal Dave been on the HVAC Overtime show? Yes, he has. He's been on there before I was part of the show. We've talked to Dave before, and one of these days he will be on the show. It's just been trying to find a good time to schedule between the two of us. But yeah, Dave's a cool dude. We all find him to be a really funny guy. All of you guys watch Dave's stuff. I'm sure you find him to be, he's a funny dude, but he's a smart dude. Yeah, we'll have him on again soon, but he has been on there before. All right, let's see what else. Have I used, and what do I think about leak tracing methods? Do they gum up the TXVs? So I had a question on here. Let's find if I can find it. So Jason had asked me too in my YouTube comments, if I can't find a leak when I'm doing leak searches, would I consider using leak sealers in the system? Okay. No, I'm not a fan of using leak sealers or leak additives. Not even a fan of using dye or any of that stuff. I prefer to keep refrigerant and oil in the system, and that is it. So yeah, I am not a fan of using that stuff. Alaska HVAC, thank you so very much for that super chat, man. I really, really appreciate that. Okay. That's funny. So I actually lost my train of thought on that one there, bud. Oh yeah, the leak sealers. So yeah, feel free. That's funny. Your super chat totally made me lose my train of thought. You guys are like bumbling me up here. So as far as the leak sealers go, yeah, I prefer not to use them. Now, do I have one exact experience where I can say a leak sealer caused a problem? Not necessarily. I can't say that I can pinpoint a problem. I have used leak sealers before, usually at the customer's demand. Like, hey, you know what? I need you to try this before you try to change my evaporator. In my personal experience, I've used a couple different brands of leak sealers. I think actually two different ones. I've used it two different times, I think. But two different brands. Neither of them have ever worked for me. So that's just my personal experience. Again, I'm not talking trash about anybody's products. I know some people swear by some of these leak sealers. They just haven't been successful for me in what I do. And I prefer not to use them at all. So, all right, let's see what else we got in here. Nope, I didn't take a vow of silence. And actually, I was watching TV this over the weekend, and it's like, man, I want to grow my hair long. He's talking about how I shave my head. I'm thinking about growing my hair long. I used to have long hair actually. When I was a kid, I had a mullet with like long down my neck, ponytail kind of a thing, if you can imagine that. All right, let's see what else we got. I'm going to mark my list off here. I got my list of things to talk about, and let me mark this stuff off. So I already answered that one. Jason or Dylan, I kind of already covered this, but Dylan had to ask. He's from another country. So he said, hey, how can we top off? Oh, no, Dylan isn't from another country, I don't think. Dylan is saying he noticed that I topped off the charge on a 404A system. And he's like, wait, I thought you couldn't top off the charge on 404, implying, I'm assuming that he's implying that the refrigerant would fractionate and you'd have improper mixtures and things like that. So 404A refrigerant, the whole fractionization thing, I mean, there is fractionization, and that means that, you know, because it is a blend that, you know, there's potential that one gas of the mixture that's in there could leak out before the other. I personally have not had any bad experiences myself ever topping off the charge on 404A. And I've actually topped off the charge on extremely low refrigerant levels. And I've been very lucky and really haven't had an issue. Of course, you know, you might see some issues if you charge with vapor, that kind of a thing. But But, you know, the fractionization myth, I think it's a bit overhyped when it comes to like 404A and 410A. 410A is a near azeotropic blend, so it's very small potential of fractionization too. Now, you know, even on some of these new high glide blends like 448A, you know, even the manufacturers have published some data that I've read that, you know, you can top off the charge on most of those too, and you can usually be okay. You know, but if you're ever concerned about it, I would always say to err on the side of caution. If you really think that it's leaked out too much, of course, do what makes you feel comfortable, you know, change out the refrigerant charge or whatever you need to do. But I personally haven't had bad experiences topping off the charge on 404A at all. So, let me go ahead and cross that one off the list. This is a great one too, and I want to ask you guys in the chat and all the people that watch this live stream later, I want your feedback on this one, okay? Feel free to put it in the comments, in the chat, or send me an email. But I've had this brought up to me multiple times, and I'm going to give you my experience on it. So Stacy made a comment on my YouTube video, and it was about finding circuit breakers. And Stacy is saying, hey man, why are you not using a circuit tracer to find breakers? Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I've had extremely bad experiences using circuit tracers. I've bought multiple different types on three-phase panels. When it comes to three-phase panels, for the life of me, I cannot find a circuit tracer that works properly, okay? Nothing but problems on three-phase panels. Now, I'm not a genius when it comes to electricity. That's just my dumb experience. I'm sure there's some logic that explains why it doesn't work for me. Have you guys had experience using circuit tracers on three-phase panels? The chat, email, whatever, let me know, because I personally haven't. It just doesn't work for me. Nothing but headaches, never finds them right. You get lots of false readings. And I imagine it has because you're dealing with three-phase. If you were dealing with single-phase panels, I totally agree. Circuit tracers are amazing in my experience. I've used them on single-phase panels, but on three-phase panels, I have no luck using circuit tracers. I'd like to know, for the people that are in the chat, let me know. Small Fry asking if I've ever been ice fishing. No, I have never been ice fishing. So I'd like to know, I'm going to kind of go through some of the easy questions, and I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are in the comments. So let's see. What are we missing in here? Appreciate the nice words there. Jessro, I believe is your name. Valenzuela. Thanks, bud. That's really cool. Yeah, exactly. Just hit L1 to L2. Yes, you will find the breaker, you hope. But I've tripped mains before. I've got a story about tripping a main. So let me see what else. Dirk. Okay, interesting. So you've had good stuff. I haven't. Can I convert single-phase breaker to three-phase for newer three-phase unit? Can you convert a single-phase breaker to three-phase for a newer three-phase unit? I'm not an electrician. I believe they do make breakers that you can snap together. Whether or not that's legal, I don't know. You can get like covers to make a single phase break, but I don't know. I'm not an electrician, so not going to answer that one at all. Let me see. What would happen if you put R22 in a 410A system? It wouldn't work, right? All right. Why does low voltage cause overheating in a compressor? It has to do with the basic electrical theory. When the voltage is low, the compressor tends to have to work harder. I'm not great at explaining the electrical stuff, so let's see what else. When in doubt, arc it out. Yeah, that's funny. Let's see what I'm missing in here. I've talked about this before on my live streams before. I had a situation where I went up to and this is a worst case scenario, but this is why you don't want to try to arc a breaker out to trip it. First off, it's dangerous, but I know people that will make a direct short to trip a breaker to find it. Okay. So, I went up to a service call. It was newer in my career. It was a golf course. Went up to the unit, had no power, went down to the breaker panel, had a tripped breaker. So I reset the breaker, and it tripped again. Okay. Came up to the roof, turned off the disconnect switch, went back downstairs, reset the breaker, came up, turned the disconnect switch on again, and the breaker tripped again. But this time the entire building shut down, or at least half the building shut down. So I went and found the main breaker, right, for the entire panel. And the main breaker was physically broken and would not reset. And it was a 480 volt main, and I couldn't get it to reset. It was a golf course. They shut down, and long story short, they couldn't get a breaker for like a day because it was like the middle of the weekend or something like that. They couldn't get a breaker, so they had to shut down their banquet facility because I reset a breaker without checking ground before I reset it, and I was constantly trying to reset it. Now, long story short, I should have toned out the system, found out it was grounded, disconnected that, turned it back on, that kind of a thing. But that taught me a lesson about ever making me even think about trying to short out a breaker by making a direct short or something like that. Like, no. But plus, it's very dangerous to do that too. So, all right. So, Jerry, this is a great question. I get this one very often. This is referring to an old video that I had. I believe it was my competition couldn't figure this one out either. And it was a walk-in freezer that had just crazy problems. I talked about the customer spending a crap ton of money on it. And it all came down to me going out there and cleaning up all the crap work that the previous company did, to find out that when the previous company installed the equipment like a year previous, they didn't pipe the drain with enough pitch on it. And that was why all the, craziness happened. So it was just a crazy thing. It's a pretty cool video. Go watch it if you haven't already. But I believe it was called My Competition Couldn't Figure This One Out either, I think. But, why didn't I report my competition, or why don't I name my competition in the video? Because they sure as hell did shitty work. So why don't I call them out for it? Okay. Couple reasons. Number one, it's not my place. Okay. It's not my place to go to the customer and say, you need to sue these people. That's not my place. The customer, it's their money. The customer can figure out what they want to do. My job is to go in there, present the facts, fix what they approve, and move on. And that's what I did. Okay. Yeah, I had some opinions about my competition. Yeah, I could certainly name my competition on a YouTube video and let the world know who my competition is. There's a lot of people in the comments that try to argue all the time to say, you have an obligation to name your competition so the rest of us don't hire them. Well, actually, no, I don't. And actually, here in California, I'm opening myself up for a lawsuit if I go and name my competition. And yes, people have, and I've tried to have this comment or this argument with people in my comments. Yeah, but you know what? They're wrong. You'll win in court. I don't want to go to court. Do you know how much court would cost me and time and all that crap? Nah. Keep my opinions to myself. I don't name my competition. I don't need to throw anybody under the bus. They know who they are. Their service technicians actually watch my videos. I've ran into them many times. So they know what they did. My customer knows that, what they did. And it's not my place to really give my opinions on that kind of stuff. Okay. So I'm not here to name my competition. I'm not here to turn restaurants in because they had a roach problem. That's not my business. I'm not here to turn a restaurant in because they didn't throw away food in a refrigerator. That's not my thing. Okay. There's health departments and people that are there to protect the consumer. And I'm just here to fix it. Of course, if I saw something that was going to kill somebody, I would let the proper authorities know, but I'm opening myself up to just craziness if I try to do that to anybody. So it's going to be some dire circumstances before I start naming my competition or calling the authorities on my customer, etc. So, all right, let's see what else we got in here. What do we got in here? There's also a dead circuit tracer, which works awesome. Wow. HVACR technician, thank you so very much for that super chat, man. That's amazing. That's awesome, bud. You said you appreciate all my hard work that goes into my videos. They are great and you learn a lot. Well, thanks, bud. I'm very humbled by that. So thank you. Laska, do I know how many RTUs you can fix in the same time you spend in court? Exactly. You know, I just open myself up for all kinds of crazy stuff and I don't even need any part of that. Do I have a line when I would call the health department? You know, I've never come to that before. So it's hard for me to say what exactly would make me call the health department. Yeah, that's a hard one. I'd really have to think about it. I mean, if I walked into, okay, so yeah, I don't know, man. That's a really hard one, you know, to say for sure, because there's so many variables that come into that one. So no, at this point in time, I don't have a line that I know for sure I would call them. So if I went into a restaurant and they had child labor going on in the back and people were being abused, yeah, I'd call the police, but you know, not going to go too much further than that. All right. A couple months back, I used a swage crimper for a new line set. I haven't used it. No, it's okay. You don't need to delete your comment. That was the Sporland ZoomLock Max tool. Yeah, I still have it sitting in my van. I just really haven't come across a situation where it's been useful for me. So the Sporland ZoomLock Max is a great tool, and where it really comes into play, in my opinion, is in situations where you might have to have hot work permits. If you don't know what that is, when you're working in big giant government buildings and things like that, sometimes they'll make you shut down the damn building to be able to do any repair work, any brazing, or any hot work, they call it, okay, welding, anything like that. They'll make you come in the middle of the night when they can shut off the fire systems when nobody's in it. They go like crazy extremes, saying that you can't work on equipment. So things like the Sporland ZoomLock Max tool would be a great tool in that situation. I used it on a walk-in cooler installation just out of curiosity because I wanted to know, like, hey, how does this thing work? How convenient is it? And that kind of stuff. I thought it was a great tool. It did save time on the job, but at the same time, there's a lot of steps that you have to follow. It's really interesting because a lot of people had comments about the ZoomLock Max saying it was going to dumb down the industry and it's just going to leak everywhere and all this stuff. Well, no, I don't really find that to be true. And I don't think it's going to dumb down the industry because if you follow the proper installation instructions on the ZoomLock Max tool, there's actually a lot of time that goes into the prep of the pipe. And majority, I would argue, of people that I have talked to and manufacturers representatives that I have talked to, even technicians that have used it, that have seen refrigerant leaks, majority of the time, they're actually improperly prepared fittings. Okay. So there's a lot of prep work that seems silly, you know, deburring the pipe, you know, it's a common proper practice for us to deburr refrigeration pipe, right? To take your reamer and ream out the inside of the pipe. To be honest with you, the inside of the pipe means nothing to the ZoomLock Max tool. It could care less if the inside of your pipe has a burr on it. It's actually the outside of the pipe that has burrs and sharp edges that need to be taken care of when it comes to the ZoomLock Max tool. So you need to be really, really careful about that. And you have to deburr the outside of the pipe. And that's kind of tricky. You have to have a special deburring tool to clean it off. And then also there's another thing about the ZoomLock Max tool that you have to be very careful about. Because it uses an O-ring type crimp fitting, you have to make sure that there's no large lateral imperfections in the pipe, little grooves inside the pipe. And you have to make sure, there's another thing you really got to make sure too, is oftentimes on hard drawn ACR pipe, there's actually like a stamped in, I don't know what they call it, but there's a stamped in lettering in the pipe that's very, very fine. And that can actually be a leak source. So you actually have to take their scour Scotch-Brite pads that they have, and you have to deburr that pipe and clean up the surface of it too. So it's not just a matter of cleaning off oil and grease. It's a matter of making sure that there's no imperfections and no long cracks for the refrigerant to go under the O-ring to leak out. So if you properly prep the pipe, cleaning it, deburring it, making sure that it's polished up and that there's no cracks and seams, you're going to get a long, long life out of that pipe, you know, and out of that crimp fitting. So I still have it. Will I use it again? Sure. But it's not something that I'm going to use on every single job. because there's times that brazing might be more convenient for me. Okay. So, but I think it's a great tool to have in the arsenal. It's definitely something that I'm going to have. And, you know, there was a job that I did, a walk-in installation, where I almost did it, but I didn't have all the needed fittings in my truck stock to do it while I was on the site, you know, so I didn't do it on that job. So, but I think it's a great tool. All right, let's see what else. Have I accidentally overcharged the system? John Deere fan? Oh, yeah. Everybody's overcharged the system accidentally many times. Is static pressure a duct pressure or a filter differential? Static pressure is a measurement of the amount of pressure inside the duct, or the amount of force it takes to move the air, I believe. That's an interesting one. I'm trying to think if I can say that correctly. So static pressure is a measurement on the outside of the duct from the inside out, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to stop butchering that one because I'm not able to properly explain that right now. So, but you can do static pressure drop across a filter. Now that would be differential. Static pressure in, like total external static pressure in the duct, is one measurement. Okay. But then you also have static pressure drop. So you take one probe on one side of the filter and one probe on the other side of the filter. And that's where you're going to measure a differential between one side and the other. Okay. Of a filter or something like that. Hopefully, again, I don't know if I answered your question there, but all right. What recovery machine do I use or recommend? Personally, right now, I'm using the Fieldpiece MR45 recovery machine. That's their top of the line one. It has a DC motor in it. Super quiet, efficient machine. I really do like the MR45. So, how often do I change my filter on my leak detector? Whenever it gets dirty. So honestly, I don't know what the instructions say to do, but whenever it gets dirty is when I change mine. Just check it every once in a while. Let me see what else we got in here. The amount of work the blower. There you go. That's the right way to say that, Dirk. So it's the amount of work that the blower has to do to overcome the pressure of the system. Exactly right. See, there we go. See, this is a teamwork kind of a thing. Okay. So you can have higher static pressure, total external static pressure in your system if you have really long duct runs, if you have restrictions in the ductwork, stuff like that. That can add to higher than normal total external static, which can make the blower motor work harder, which can make it harder to deliver air to certain rooms and things like that. So, all right. Have I ever broken something worse than it was when I got there, but later fixed it? Certainly have. I can't think of an exact situation, but yeah, I have. So I already covered that question. I'm going through my list of things that I have to talk about to make sure I'm not missing anything. I already covered that question. Cool. Already covered that question. Cool. I'm doing good. So I had asked a question. I get a lot of people have been asking me too, and it's just so much easier to address them on here instead of typing it out all the time. A lot of people asked me, or because I asked a question about a drone. I was curious if anybody had any experience with drones. I did end up buying one. I did a DJI Mavic Pro, Mavic 2 Pro something. I don't know. I'm probably jumbling up the numbers on that, but it's an awesome drone, but I don't plan on making any YouTube videos with my drone. Okay. Right now at this time. Hey, Marat, thank you very much for that super chat, bud. That's awesome. Marat, if you click, I don't think people can click on your name. I don't know if one of the moderators can do this. Can someone plug Marat's YouTube channel too? It's called Marat RPM SoCal. Just copy and paste the name into YouTube, and do me a favor and put a link. If one of you moderators could do that, that'd be awesome for Marat's channel. Marat has a channel. He's actually local here in Southern California, and he has a cool YouTube channel where he shows us service calls. It's really interesting because he works in a lot of the same areas that I work in. We don't work at the same restaurants, but I see him driving on the freeway and it's like, hey, I know where he's at and that kind of stuff. So check out his YouTube channel. It's pretty cool. So I lost my train of thought. Oh, I did end up purchasing a drone, but I don't plan on using it in YouTube videos at this time, guys. But on top of that, in order to use a drone in YouTube videos, a lot of people don't know this. You actually have to have a license with the FAA. It's a commercial drone pilot's license. You got to take a test, learn, about air traffic. You have to learn about flight maps. You have to learn about weather patterns, wind, and different things like that. So at this point in time, I don't have any intentions in getting that Section 107 license, I believe is what it's called. Not really something that's useful to me. To be honest with you, I never planned on using a drone in my YouTube videos per se, because my customers would think twice, like kind of wonder what the heck is going on if I have a damn helicopter flying me. And I think having a drone on the roof of my restaurants would definitely cross the line of wasting the restaurant's time when I'm filming these service calls versus just using my phone real quick and talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? So not really something I can justify in my YouTube videos. So, but I did pick one up. So it's just for personal use. I've been having fun with it. Yeah, that is it on the list of questions there. I covered all that. Let me get to the chat here and see what I'm missing. With the Fieldpiece office closed, where can you order replacement parts for vacuum pumps? Scott, HVAC rookie. The last I heard, Fieldpiece's office was back open. Have you heard otherwise recently? Last I heard, you could still go in if you had issue with a vacuum pump or any other tools. What I would suggest you do, Scott, is send me an email or text me or whatever. You got my number. But yeah, last I heard, you could totally go in there. So let's see what else we got in here. How do I feel about North being in the mafia, and what's the story behind that? Ha, Kevin. Okay, cool. I can cover this one. So one of the moderators in here, HVACR North, has kind of a questionable background here. Okay. So my buddies, Adam, Curious HVAC guy, Bill, and HVACR North and myself do a show on Friday evenings, on the HVAC Overtime YouTube channel. Right. But none of us have ever been able to mail Joe anything to his house. All that we know, or all that we think, is that Joe lives in Canada, right? All that we think is that his name is Joe, but we don't know for sure if his name is Joe. Okay. When we want to send Joe something in the mail, right? Like Christmas gifts, like we sent everybody, or this new manifold that I bought for this YouTube project we're doing, I have to send it to a address in Philadelphia somewhere. I think for all I know, it's a PO box. It's just some random address. So we've kind of deducted that we think that Joe is in the mafia. We kind of have deducted that, or maybe he's in the witness protection program from the mafia, but we kind of hope he's in the mafia and that he's like part of a super rich crime family. And maybe one day he's going to share some of that super rich crime money with us, and, or maybe he could like help us out of a jam or something like that. But yeah, super secretive dude. We don't know what the deal is with Joe. We're going to say, right? We don't know. This dude's super secretive. All right. Yeah, Joe, yeah, he has burner phones and all that stuff, man. Super secretive dude. So, what else we got in here? Can I visually see any compressor damage on my Fieldpiece gauges? No. Have I ever had a customer get mad I was filming where I'm working? No, actually, I've never had a customer get mad at me for filming while I was working, but I also am very discreet about filming, even though my customers know that I film on the job sites. They know it, or corporate knows it, but yeah, I don't really film where there's people. You know, if there's people around me, I typically don't film. It's very rare that I actually do any of that because people just want to ask questions and stuff like that. So I just be discreet about it. All right, let's see what else. What am I missing in here? I'm just looking at the chat. Have I thought about trying the new Testo digital gauges to compare to the Fieldpiece? Brian Guzman. So I said it a few minutes ago. What I want you to do, Brian, is go to my new YouTube channel. I'm going to post it in the link right now. Control V. HVACR Tools. Myself and the Overtime crew are going to be reviewing the new Testo 550 manifold. So myself, Joe, and Adam all got the new Testo 550s, and Bill got the Testo 550i manifold, which is the one without the screen. And we're all going to be doing review videos on that YouTube channel. So go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Scott, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. That's awesome. But yeah, go subscribe to that YouTube channel. Lots of cool videos coming up. I said it earlier, the Testo 550 manifolds, we are going to be using it on that channel. We are going to be doing comparisons to other manifolds, such as the Fieldpiece on there. We're also doing the new Testo vacuum gauge. So what we did was I ordered the new 550 manifold, and or the 550i manifold, we ordered the new vacuum gauge. We ordered, it comes with 2 of the wireless temperature clamps, and it comes with 2 of the psychrometers. So we're going to be testing out all that Testo stuff, the new Testo app and all that. So we'll be doing videos on it for sure. In the future, we're going to be doing I'm hoping that Adam can do a video on the new blower door that he ordered. Plan on doing the new Vito rolling backpack, thermal imaging cameras. I know Joe just ordered the FLIR 1 Pro. I have the FLIR 1 Pro, and I also have a couple other cameras, so we'll be doing a video on that. The cool thing is that it's not just on me anymore. So sometimes we might do a collaboration video where we all put it in the same video with our reviews, or, you know, we might upload individual videos. We're also going to do like silly reviews on there too, of like some of these crap meters that I get emails from, like these weird foreign companies that want to send these stupid meters to me, and they're always just delete. We're gonna order that crap and tell you what we really feel about it, and it's all gonna be on the HVAC R Tools channel. So how do you do the super chat or donate? Jay Miller, you have to have it set up. Down in the bottom there's a little money sign, but you have to have your Google account set up that way and be signed into Google to be able to do super chats. If you do want to support the stream, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can go to my website, hvacrvideos.com. I've got merch. Careful for the triggered people. I've got merch available on my website, shirts, hats, different things like that. That you can actually get something for your donation. Also, there's other ways too. You can support me via Patreon. You can support me via YouTube channel memberships. You can also donate via PayPal. You can find that all in the show notes of this video. There's ways to donate if you want to do it that way too. So that's if you want to support it. All right, let's see what else we got in here. Oh, yeah, exactly, Laska. The Joe you see in the chat is different from the Joe you see on YouTube. Who knows, man? You know, we don't know. We have no idea. So we have no idea who that guy is for real. Yeah, guys, do me a favor and smash the like button. We got 344 people in here and 191 likes. By smashing the like button, you're helping to support the channel. It makes YouTube's algorithm notice that you guys are actually watching this video and interacting with this video. So please do that. And when you guys comment on other people's YouTube videos, and mine included, it helps with the algorithm too. Any interactions that you guys give with YouTube channels, whoever's you watch, definitely helps to support. HVACR Wiz, thank you so very much for that super chat, bud. That is awesome. You're the man. Oh, thank you so very much. BTB7 Plagues Games. It's hard to say some of these names. I really appreciate that, bud. Did I do a video for the Measure Quick profiling, especially for the testing? Oh, you're saying, no, did I do I do a video for Measure Quick profiling, especially for testing for like the Testo 550, I'm assuming? No, I haven't done one yet. Now, full disclosure, I don't think that Measure Quick right off the bat is going to work with the new Testo 550 manifold and the 550i. I could be wrong about that, but oftentimes it takes Measure Quick a while to catch up to a lot of the new tools and stuff. So I suspect that it's not going to work right quick. So I suspect we're going to have to be using the Testo app in the beginning until Measure Quick catches up with the new technology that was just released. But I could be wrong on that. So, all right. Yeah, I have the Mr. Tippy tool bag. It's nice, but it is Mr. Tippy for sure. I have that same one. I use it for all my smart probes and everything like that. So, and let's see what else. Yeah. So I'm pretty much out of stuff to talk about. So throw some more questions in here, guys, and I'll get to them. And then, yeah, we'll go with that. Let's see what else we got in here. Okay. So, looking through the list of things. That's funny. Some of your stuff you guys post in here makes me laugh. All right, I'm just going through seeing if I missed anything. Yeah, the phone only Testo where you use your phone to read in. Joshua, yeah, Curious HVAC guy Bill is receiving that phone only one. So that's called the Testo 550i. That's the one. So that will be in our video. So for sure. Have I ever seen the electronic board that started burning inside the equipment? What would cause that? No, I've never seen that. I mean, that could be a lot of different things. The electronic board burning inside the equipment. Yeah, it's hard to say, man. That's a really tricky one. If Joe really isn't hiding, you hope I just didn't out him. Ooh, that's true, you know. You never know about that. I should use the new Testo where you use your phone to read it. Doesn't have a screen. Yeah, we already addressed that, yeah. I'm reading some of these as things go by, so we will be doing that. What about the Discord server? Yeah, we do have a Discord server. The moderator bot's been posting a link to it. And there's also a link to the Discord server in the show notes of this. If you guys don't know what Discord is kind of like a giant chat room that has individual rooms within itself. Okay, so I have what we call a Discord server, which is a giant chat room dedicated just to HVACR videos, right? And then within there, there's a section for computers, there's a section for general talk, there's a section for, you know, this, that, and this. So it's just a cool place to go that I'll go into every once in a while and kind of hang out. But there's also another community that's within the Discord server. And also I keep plugging this, and this is going to come soon too. Soon we're going to do a full merch line giveaway that I'm supposed to be doing for the 100K subscribers that I hit. We're going to do a full merch lineup for someone, and you will have to be in the Discord server to enter that giveaway. So if you haven't already, go sign up for the Discord server, and just be ready. We'll be announcing that soon, like how to do it and everything. But the giveaway, just to keep the headache of doing giveaways on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook, because there's so many terms of service you have to follow. We're going to be doing it in the Discord server, which makes it a lot easier. So, and I'll announce it on the YouTube video when that time comes too. So, does my Fieldpiece gauge show that a system is at the end of its life? No, it does not. Does the new Testo work with Measure Quick? Joshua, I don't think it does as of yet, but I could be wrong. I don't know that to be factual. I suspect that the new Testo gauge will not work with Measure Quick yet, but I could be completely wrong about that. So I think that it will in the future, but I suspect that it's going to take some time. What was my first computer gaming console? Regular Nintendo was my first. Actually, yeah, regular Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo, Sega CD, Nintendo 64, a couple different ones. There was some weird video game consoles too that I had, lots of Game Boys and all that crap too. Have I ever encountered R450 with Charleston yet? Replacement for 134A? No, I have not encountered the new R450 refrigerant. Am I trying to grow a beard like the awesome Bill? No, I just don't like shaving. So I'm not good at shaving too, and the barber shops aren't open here to do facial hair and stuff. So like I had a fake beard that I was trying to grow, and then I just decided to shave it all off, and that's when I shaved my head bald too. And then here we are a couple weeks later, and it's already back. Yeah, but Bill lied to me, because Curious HVAC guy, I had a thing, you know, him and I said we were both going to shave our beards. And so I shaved my head completely bald and shaved my beard, and Bill was supposed to do it to his, and he never did. So I don't know. Dude's kind of a loser, if you ask me. All right, let's see what else. Have I seen a system that is low on refrigerant, but when I evacuated and charged it with nitrogen, it doesn't leak nitrogen? Yeah, had that many times. That's a pain in the butt. Some of those systems can be a true pain to find. I don't have any secrets. I would pump it up with a crap ton of nitrogen, sometimes pushing a little bit past the envelope of what you're supposed to put in there to see if you can create the leaks or make the leaks bigger. But yeah, sometimes those things are just nightmares to find. Sometimes things will leak. It's weird, man. Sometimes things will leak only when the pressures in the system get really high because of tiny micro cracks in the discharge lines. It's some of those leaks are hard to find, man. All right. Hey, look at that. Big Clive is in here from Big Clive Live. What's up, bud? Let me see what else we got in here. Have I seen us? Already answered that one. Do I work on industrial refrigeration like ammonia systems? No. But my buddy Ulysses Palacios has a YouTube channel. And he does work on industrial systems. So you'll see ammonia systems and things like that on his YouTube channel. Let's see what else. I already answered that one. Another way too, I had mentioned Bill's beard is Billy Gibbons approved. Yeah, but did you know, little known fact, that Bill can play the guitar too? Okay. Bill is a musician. See, most people don't know that. So Bill could join ZZ Top if he wanted to. Bill's also like 7 foot tall, which is kind of crazy. All right. I am going to wrap this one up, guys. I really, really appreciate you. My neck pain is really kicking in right now. I need to take my bag of frozen peas that I have down here and put it back on my neck. Here we go. The best thing for neck pain right here, frozen peas, guys. Do me a favor if you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you want to support the channel, another way to do it is go to truetechtools.com. Use my offer code BIGPICTURE. You can save 8% on your order. Lots of different ways you can support it. Check us out on the Overtime, HVAC Overtime show, Friday evening about 6:05 p.m. And stay tuned if you guys haven't already. I already said it in the beginning. Make sure you subscribe to the new YouTube channel, HVACR Tools. Actually, it's not new. I've had it for a while, but I just haven't posted anything on it in a very long time. Myself and the Overtime crew are going to be doing some cool tool stuff on there that we don't want to cloud our normal channels with. So definitely go subscribe to that. And yeah, I'm going to cue up the outro music. Again, I really, really appreciate you guys. And let's go ahead and do that. Let's do that. And here goes the outro music. And we will catch you guys on the next one. You guys gonna leave yet? Or are you guys just gonna sit here and wait for me? I mean, it's about that time, you know? You guys really shouldn't be sticking around anymore. There's not much left of the show. Don't know what you're waiting for. Nothing special. You know? I mean, I don't know. We could go through unboxing of these binder clips that I have right here. These things are sometimes fun. You know, you can catch things with them and like hold it, you know, like you can walk around and like be like, look, I got binder clip fingers, you know, you can do silly stuff like that. So if you haven't already, put one of these binder clips on your lip. It feels really good. You know, you could do that kind of stuff. I don't know what else to tell you guys. You guys are sticking around watching me, and I got nothing else to talk about. You know, I mean, really, what is it that you guys want from me? You know, I don't know. I got some lottery tickets here that I need to check. You know, I really don't know what else to talk about. At this point in time, I think it's time to go ahead and turn off the lights and wrap this up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights. Is there still really 150 people watching this? There's nothing going on. What do you guys want from me? You guys crack me up. What are you guys doing here? When does the strip show start? I need to go eat dinner. You guys are supposed to leave. I got to eat my dinner. You know what I'm having for dinner tonight? Because I'm a fat ass and, you know, my back hurts, so I get to like eat whatever the heck I want. I'm having Kraft macaroni and cheese, dude. I found a box of that in my cupboard and I asked my wife if she would make that for me. Kraft macaroni and cheese. There's sometimes nothing better than the entire box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. You know how many calories and how much salt is in that? But you know what? I could care less because my back hurts. So yeah, that's my dinner right now. Is a box of Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's what I'm going to have. Yeah, bring my family in here and eat in front of everybody. That's funny. All right, guys. I want to wrap this up. I really, really appreciate you guys. Cue up the real outro music, and we will catch you on the next one.